Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about how to identify your variable expenses. If you have been watching my channel for a while, then you know that I am a big fan of 50/30 rule. You can check out my video on 50/30 rule if you haven't seen it yet. But in this video, I am going to focus on one part of the 50/30 rule, and that is 30% of your after-tax income, which is supposed to be your variable expenses. So, we're going to dive into that, and we're going to see how you can identify your variable expenses. First thing that you want to do, make sure that you track your spending at least for a few months, if not more. So what we're gonna do is first gather all the statements like credit card bills or any other bills where you have spent money on. So this can include your utility bills, grocery bills, maybe dining out, eating out, your clothing bills, vacations, entertainment, etc. All these things fall into your variable category. So make sure that you have all these statements handy. It doesn't matter whether you use a budgeting app or you are tracking everything manually. What you want to do, just write down all the variable expenses that you have had for, let's say, last 3 months. You can go for 6 months or 12 months, but 3 months should be the minimum amount of time that you should track. Once you have gathered all of your variable expenses, the next step would be to average them out. So, we're going to take the total amount that you have spent on groceries in the past 3 months and then divide it by 3, so you get an idea of how much you spend on groceries per month on an average. We're going to do this exercise with all your variable expenses, and you will end up having a list something like this. In this example, I have averaged out my utilities to $174 per month, internet $60, groceries to $150, gas $100, clothing $50, dining out $100, entertainment $80, personal care $30, and vacation $200. Please note that vacation here does not mean that you went on a vacation somewhere else. It means that the amount that you would normally spend if you were to go on a vacation in a given month. For example, if you go on a vacation once in a year, then you might want to divide the total cost of that vacation by 12, and that's how much you should put towards your vacation category every single month, even though you might not be going on a vacation that month. After you have averaged out your expenses, the next step is to list down your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are expenses that don't change from month to month. This includes your housing payment, your car payment, student loan payment, insurance premiums, etc. These are the expenses that stay the same every single month. Once you have listed down your fixed expenses, we're going to add them up and find the total. The next step is to add all of your variable expenses and find the total. So, we're going to add all of our variable expenses that we averaged out earlier, and we get the total of $940. Now comes the fun part. Subtract your fixed expenses from your after-tax income. In this example, the person has the after-tax income of $4,000, and we're going to subtract $1,640, which was our fixed expenses, and we get the number of $360. Now subtract your total variable expenses $940 from the remaining amount, and you get $1,420. Now there are two things that you can do with this amount. First option is you can keep this amount as it is and save rest of the money. Second option is if you think that your variable expenses that you have estimated are little to high, then you can distribute the remaining amount amongst your variable expense categories in a way that you feel comfortable. Let me show you what I mean. For example, if you have saved $1,420 and you feel that your variable expenses that you have averaged out are little to high, then you can take this amount and distribute it amongst your variable expenses, and you can give $100 to groceries, $50 to clothing, $50 to dining out, $200 to vacation, and rest of the categories can remain the same. And now, when you add all of your variable expenses, they become $1,220 instead of $940, and you have used up all of your 30% of your after-tax income. Let me show you another example. Let's say your after-tax income is $3,500. your fixed expenses are $1,200 and your variable expenses average out to be $800. So 3,500 minus 1,200 equals 2,300. Then 2,300 minus 800 equals 1,500. So now you have $1,500 left. Now you can either keep this as it is and save this amount, or if you want to increase your variable expense limits, then you can take this amount and increase your variable expenses. For example, if you feel that you might want to spend more on groceries, you can give $100 from this amount to your groceries, and you can keep doing this with all of your categories. So now your variable expenses become $900 instead of $800. I hope this makes sense, and if it doesn't make sense, please leave a comment below and I will reply to you. So as you can see, averaging out your expenses helps you understand how much you are spending on an average per month on certain categories, and it gives you a better idea of what your budget should look like. If you don't track your spending for at least 3 months, you won't really know where your money is going, and you won't be able to figure out what your actual budget is. So please make sure that you track your expenses for at least 3 months. So the next step after you have figured out your variable expenses is to determine whether you are under, over, or right on track with your 30% limit. The average person spends 50% of their income on basic needs and wants and 20% on savings and debt repayment. If you spend less than 30% on variable expenses, then you are doing great and you have a lot of room to save or pay off debt. However, if you spend more than 30% on variable expenses, then you need to take some action. You can take action by either reducing your variable expenses or increasing your income. To reduce your variable expenses, you can cut back on things like dining out, entertainment, shopping, etc. You can also consider selling unwanted items online to make some extra cash. Additionally, you can negotiate your bills down. For example, you can call your internet or cell phone provider and ask for a lower rate or a discount. You can also look for ways to increase your income, such as asking for a raise at work, picking up a side hustle, or starting a small business. By following these tips, you can better manage your finances and achieve your financial goals. Alright, guys, this brings us to the end of this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss out on any of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.